so much. And it's amazing all-star lineup that we have of New Yorkers that love this city. I want to thank Dan and Rich. And really, sometimes we don't know the individuals behind the scene who put things together. And I just want to thank Julie Stein for, and please just give her a round of applause. And as you know, my good friend and Canarsie kid, Frank Carone, is cycling out of the administration with the amazing Lorraine Grillo, my new team of leadership, I want to thank them. Incoming First Deputy Mayor Sheena Wright, my Chief of Staff Camille, and Ingrid Lewis-Martin. And I cannot say enough, and some people, they sort of make it in a cosmetic way, but what you are seeing with the governor and the relationship is a real one. I like her personally as an individual. I like her as a leader. I like the fact that you can sit down and have a real conversation, and you don't have to agree. That's the real indication of how well you're doing, that even when you disagree, you're able to be a deep listener and seek to understand before you're understood. And we're able to do that. This is an amazing moment for our city and state. And we often talk about, and we're going to get into the conversation about the significance of our central business district being the engine of our city and state. And, many people don't know, but in my younger years, I was an auto mechanic. And if you have cylinders in your engine, no matter how fine that engine is, if those cylinders are not aligned, if they are missing and they're offbeat, the car is not going to produce the product that you deserve. Let me get that for you. And that's what we're seeing. The four cylinders of our engine has been misaligned for a long time, and we have to be honest about that. The cylinder of government, the cylinder of business, the cylinder of community, all of those cylinders have been offline. And January 1st, 2022, when we started reaching out to our business community and our corporate leaders, Kathy Weil and those who were J.P. Morgan Chase and Goldman Sachs and other business leaders, for them to say, this is the first meeting we've had with the mayor in 8 years. Think about that. And then when we held communities meeting, New York City Speaks, 65,000 New Yorkers talked about the issues that are important to them. 18,000 young people responded to our survey to share their ideas. And in New York City, we have 8.8 million people, but we have 35 million opinions. But in all those opinions, to find the common denominator, housing, public safety, mental health, we saw that although we communicate in different languages, that we had the same desires. And we focus and zero in on those together. And so the alignment of government, corporate, of community, coming together, staying on the same mission and focus to ensure the financial engine of our city is going to continue to produce in the post-pandemic. This is a 1930 moment. In the midst of the Great Depression, we saw within a year the Empire State Building was able to be completed because of the dedication, the coordination, and commitment of the people that were involved. And it's about stop dividing our city to continually attack high-income earners where 51% of our taxes are paid by 2% of New Yorkers. It's blown my mind when I hear people say, so what if they leave? No, you leave. I want my high-income earners right here in this city. I want them to be part of the person who drives a limousine to be paid a good wage, and a person sitting in the back of the limousine to continue to use their discretionary funding to go to our restaurants, our hotels, and travelers. And you're right, Governor. The prerequisite to our prosperity is public safety and justice. They go together. We must be safe as a city. And you can't be safe as a city if you continue to allow people who are violent in our city to return to our streets and inflict violence on innocent people. It can't happen. And we can do it by having the humanity that's attached to it. And then we have to be bold. We have to be bold because part of a good city is not only the physical infrastructure, but it is also the visible present, the presentation. Can't be a city where people who have mental health illnesses are laying on your sidewalk in front of your businesses, and we tolerate it and say it's acceptable. No, I'm not going to do that. That is part of our presentation as a product as we attract businesses here. And it's hard. But I will be honest with you. If we didn't have COVID, asylum seekers, crime, economic challenges, if we didn't have all these things, I wouldn't want this job. I want it because it's hard. Winners want the ball when this game is on the line. Give me the ball. Give me the ball. I want the challenges that we're facing as a city. And all I need is a partner. And that's what we have. Going back to my days of policing, when my partner and I would respond to a dangerous environment and run up the steps because someone is either in a shooting or a crime, we didn't argue with each other while we're going to that crisis. You deal with the problem, you fix the problem, and then you deal with the petty differences later. We're responding to that 911 call for service in our city. And I have a partner that's on patrol with me. And we're going to respond in a coordinated way. We're going to continue to do what we're doing, a 12% decrease in subway crimes. Police commissioners should be commended. 7,000 guns removed off our streets. We're going to continue to look into child care, as the governor alluded to, 41,000 children looking for child care so their parents can get back to work. We're going to continue to redefine what our office spaces should look like we did during 9/11 and made 24-hour work communities. And we're going to lean into the difficult conversation about what work should look like. That's what this new New York panel was about. Yes, we're going to have a combination of remote work, but we're going to have a real conversation on how that impacts those mom and pop stores that depend on the foot traffic. They want to think differently and bold. This is a moonshot moment for us to redefine what our businesses are like. That's why we invested into life sciences. And we must engage in a real conversation with our local elected officials that are yelling, build more housing, but then in the next sentence, not on my block. No, every block must be open to building housing in the city. And then we must do something else. We have to tell our news publications, enough, enough, enough. When I go to other countries and other cities to recruit like they're recruiting from us, and they pull out a front page story and point out the worst thing that happens in the city. You know, as the person who sat down for a portrait told them, I know I have a scar, but remember I have a face. Don't point every scar we have. Yes, we have a scar of 6 felonies a day on our subway system, but 3.6 million people use that same system every day and they get to their place of employment. All right, that's our face. Our face is that we're leading the major hotel market. We're number one out of the 25 major hotel markets in our city. We're number one. 56 million tourists come to this city, predicted 65 million next year. We have a face, New York. And that face is not always perfect, but we don't need to look at the worst part of our day and highlight that over and over again to give this signal that this city is not a city of productivity. New York is not coming back. New York is back. We're back. And we have to believe we're back. So let me conclude with this as we open up the panel. I remember clearly as a lieutenant in the police department on September 11th, 2001, and I talk about this all the time, watching our center of trade collapse. And there was a question mark that lingered over not only the city, but the country. We wondered what was going to happen. And we give acknowledgement every year to those that we've lost. But I want you to also remember September 12th. We got up. Teachers taught, builders built, retailers sold their goods. And when New York got up, America got up. We are America's city. And the way goes New York, goes America. We have an obligation, again, in post-COVID, not terrorism, but terror, devastated our economy, overly impacted our medical system, loss of job, loss of wages. But once again, we were the epicenter of terrorism. We were the epicenter of COVID. But again, we're going to get up. We're going to show the country why we are New York. And this new New York conversation is going to show how together we get all cylinders operating on the same engine to regain our economy, regain our city, and we leave no one behind as we deal with the inequalities that historically have been pervasive in this city. One city, one New York, one destination, one goal, and together we will accomplish that. Thank you very much.